And thank you for joining me here. I'm Don Ma. America's energy oil stockpile has plunged to a 40-year low. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve is down by about 270 million barrels over the past 2 years, which is the lowest level since August 1983. The Biden administration has significantly drained the stockpile as a means to lower gas prices. The Energy Department was previously forced to scrap plans to buy oil to replenish the stockpile due to high prices. Oil hit a 10-month high this month after Saudi Arabia and Russia vowed to extend their voluntary oil production cuts. An analyst at Goldman Sachs expects oil prices to stay high, which means higher prices at the pump possibly, and could also lead to worsening inflation. Meanwhile, large groups of migrants have been flocking across the border into the U.S. in recent days by wading through the Rio Grande River near a railroad bridge in Eagle Pass, Texas. They're risking their lives. Here's the report.
U.S. border officials have found themselves in many moments like this recently, receiving migrants of all ages pushing across the Rio Grande, undeterred by coils of razor wire and against new rules by President Joe Biden's administration to try and stymie illegal immigration. Large groups have been trying their luck to cross the river into the United States near a railroad bridge in Eagle Pass, Texas. Reuters witnessed migrants, at times including small children, navigating the strong river currents, then squeezing between razor wire laid along the banks by the Texas National Guard. Once on U.S. soil, they wait in the hot sun to turn themselves in to border officials for processing, carrying with them little more than hope.
That they give us a chance. We want to work, we want to succeed for our families. We want to work, we want to progress, we want a new life. We want a good future for our family, all with God's favor.
Biden's new rules were rolled out in May. They order asylum seekers to make an appointment to enter the U.S. at a legal port of entry through a government-run mobile app. Those who don't could face a higher bar to asylum and potentially swift deportation. Migrant numbers plunged at first as the new rules took effect, but illegal arrivals, mostly Venezuelans who have to trek through South and Central America, have soared again. And that's created a new wave of political pressure on Biden, who's running for re-election next year. His likely challenger is Republican frontrunner Donald Trump, who made hardline immigration policy central to his time in office. Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott has repeatedly blasted Biden, a Democrat, for failing to curb illegal immigration at the U.S.-Mexico border. And the Democratic mayor of El Paso, Texas, said over the weekend his border city was at breaking point under the influx of arrivals. Border agents are under pressure from critics like Abbott for helping the migrants. On Tuesday, Border Patrol Chief Jason Owens pointed out U.S. territory begins in the middle of the river.
So by the time the migrants encounter our agents, they are already in the U.S. If they start getting swept away by the currents, if they start succumbing to the environment, the extreme temperatures and humidity that you all feel right now, and my men and women see that, they are not going to let somebody die.
Earlier this month, at least 9 people died trying to cross the river into Eagle Pass. Still, the dangers of the journey and Biden's tougher consequences for illegal crossing don't seem to be a deterrent. And it's despite apparent efforts by Mexican authorities to stop migrants from traveling north to the border. Meanwhile, many migrants, like this young mother, say they would rather risk the consequences to get into the U.S. than face desperation at home.
And staying on the border, Elon Musk is on a visit to Eagle Pass, Texas, where he met with local officials and law enforcement. The tech billionaire said his visit serves to give an unfiltered view of the situation. Musk posted a video selfie of his visit to social media platform X. He called for a greatly expanded legal immigration system and suggested welcoming hard-working, honest migrants while barring entry for those breaking the law.
I think we want to do both things: smooth out legal immigration, and then stop sort of a flow of people that is of such a magnitude that is actually leading to a collapse of social services, where even America's largest city, New York, is buckling under the pressure of just how many illegal immigrants are going to New York. If New York can't handle it, well, pretty much no part of the country can.
Musk, a native of South Africa, noted his own status as an immigrant to the United States and called himself extremely pro-immigrant. His visit coincides with the surge in illegal immigrant crossings, with tens of thousands reported in recent days. And the Biden administration's plan to house illegal immigrants on federal lands and at a national park is under scrutiny. A House committee held a hearing yesterday examining the proposal. Here's more.
The Housing Committee on Natural Resources held a hearing Wednesday on the Biden administration's use of National Park Service lands to house illegal immigrants. Earlier this month, the Biden administration agreed to lease Floyd Bennett Field to New York City. The site is part of the Gateway National Recreation Area and will temporarily house 2,500 of the immigrants.
The endless flow of illegal immigrants over our southern border is not only destroying individual cities and states, it's destroying our country. Now the Biden administration is looking to spread this chaos to one of America's greatest ideas, our national parks.
When announcing the Biden administration's decision, New York City Mayor Eric Adams said his own administration has, quote, been forced to unsustainably open new site after new site as asylum seekers continue to arrive by the thousands. Democratic New York State Assembly member Jamie Williams, whose district includes Floyd Bennett Field, said she has grave concerns over the proposal. She emphasized that the site has no infrastructure, no plumbing, no electricity, and no sewage system.
Floyd Bennett Field, a national park, is a treasure of natural beauty and biodiversity. Housing individuals here is equivalent to tarnishing the sanctity of Yellowstone National Park. The irreversible damage of flora and fauna and the destruction of our natural beauty are contrary to the ethos of conservation and preservation that national parks symbolize.
Kenneth Spencer, chairman of the U.S. Park Police Fraternal Force of Police, expressed concerns over the agency's readiness to protect the public and the immigrants themselves.
Let me be perfectly clear. Even without the migrant shelter on Floyd Bennett Field, we are at least 300 officers short of our required minimum level. Our capacity to serve and protect the public today is literally bursting at the seams. The idea that the U.S. Park Police is prepared to address 2,000 new migrants left under tents with nothing to do and no ability to communicate is not only imprudent, but it is also perilous.
Spencer said there are currently only 25 sworn officers assigned to the unit and only 2 officers on duty per shift. He also said the Park Police unit lacks modern facilities and telecommunication services.
And House Republicans held their first hearing into President Biden. The House Oversight Committee is detailing their investigation into the Biden family's business dealings.
Received millions from Chinese companies with significant ties to Chinese intelligence and the Chinese Communist Party. Just this week, we uncovered 2 additional wires sent to Hunter Biden that originated in Beijing from Chinese nationals. This happened when Joe Biden was running for President of the United States, and Joe Biden's home is listed as the beneficiary address. At least 10 times, Joe Biden lied to the American people that he never spoke to his family about their business dealings. He lied by telling the American people that there was an absolute wall between his official government duties and his personal life. Let's be clear, there was no wall.
In his opening statement, House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer said the Biden family created over 20 shell companies, which amassed more than $20 million between 2014 and 2019. And according to Comer, Joe Biden was the brand and made numerous appearances with business targets and associates to signal access, influence, and power. The Republicans argue that Biden should be held accountable for the alleged corruption. The first hearing won't introduce new evidence or involve witnesses from the Hunter Biden criminal investigation, but it lays the foundation for the GOP-led impeachment inquiry, which has escalated with subpoenas and document releases. And in just a few days, nearly 44 million Americans are going to have to start repaying their student loan debt starting in October. The first payments are due for most borrowers following more than 3 years of forbearance. And a significant number of student loan borrowers say they're dealing with payment shock. Here's a look and tips on how to get back on track and finally pay off that dreaded debt.
Student loan payments are back, adding to a growing list of things eating away at Americans' finances. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says 1 in 5 people with student loans are likely to struggle once their payments resume in October.
So it does feel like a even bigger burden for certain people. So there's kind of like this mix of feelings.
And according to a Bankrate survey, nearly a quarter of Americans with student loan debt say borrowing too much for their education is their biggest financial regret.
The numbers are so unreal and astronomical that I can't even fathom making a payment.
If I had that ability to talk to my younger self, I would have never, ever gone for that law degree. These student loans have been a noose around my neck for 20 years.
According to federal education data, the average student loan borrower owes over $37,000, costing on average up to $300 a month.
If you have debt, you really want to face it head on and figure out a plan for it.
So what can you do now to get a handle on your debt? 1, get your finances in order. See where you can trim down now to handle that additional monthly expense. 2, research and sign up for a repayment plan.
So an income-based plan that will make sure that your payment doesn't exceed a certain percentage of what you're making.
3, get back on the bandwagon. Make the necessary adjustments to make one-time payments and avoid delinquencies. For Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
U.S. government services would be disrupted and hundreds of thousands of federal workers would be furloughed without pay if Congress fails to provide funding for the fiscal year starting October 1st. So what does it mean for agencies like the military, national parks, Social Security, or Medicare? Here's more.
What closes and what stays open if the U.S. government shuts down yet again? Congress's deadlock means the country's facing its 4th partial shutdown in just the last 10 years. Thousands of federal workers would be furloughed without pay. Let's look at some of the possible effects. Welfare benefits are a mixed bag under a shutdown. The Social Security Administration would continue retirement and disability payments under Medicare and Medicaid. Benefits for veterans would also continue, but others' benefits may not, particularly for low-income families.
Thank you very much.
For example, nutrition, housing, and preschool programs for some could stop within days or weeks.
But clearly, during the course of a shutdown, millions of those moms, babes, and young children would see a lack of nutrition assistance.
Disaster response is also a mixed bag. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers would keep its flood control operations on waterways, and the Department of Agriculture says it has contingency plans to fight wildfires, for example, but FEMA says it could run out of funds for disaster relief. The military and federal law enforcement would mostly stay on the job. That includes agents from places like the FBI and DEA. Federal courts say they have enough money to stay open until at least mid-October, although most civil court cases would stop. Meanwhile, soldiers would also remain in their posts, although about half of the military's 800,000 civilian workers would be caught in the furloughs. There are a lot of other parts of the government that could be affected, from national parks to various regulatory agencies. Congress, though, they'll keep getting paid.
As Generation Xers approach retirement, many are worried they haven't set aside enough money. Gen Xers, who are now in their 40s and 50s, account for about 1/5 of the U.S. population. But as the next group to retire behind the baby boomers, their experience may be a cautionary tale. Their median amount saved for retirement is only $40,000. That's according to a report from the National Institute on Retirement Security. Older Gen X adults are more likely to have pension income to supplement their own savings and Social Security benefits. But that accounts for, just 14% of working generation Xers. Financial planning experts say there is still time for many to make up for lost time and savings, but a number will have to face the prospect of working longer and pursuing a later retirement age, around 70. Meanwhile, high-profile celebrities and politicians using TikTok could be having their closest personal contacts exposed. That's according to Forbes, which says it obtained internal company materials and tools and spoke to people who've used them. Forbes found one TikTok's tools allowed any employee around the world to access sensitive information about a person by using a back-end ID. It includes a list of connections and information about them with the ability to sort by closest ties. Searches brought up close ties of the first family, senators, campaign accounts, actors, and top CEOs. Some of the materials show the tool can target networks of people with differing political views or those critical of the Chinese regime. Meta Platforms unveiled artificial intelligence-powered chatbots, a new mixed reality headset, and Ray-Ban smart glasses at its annual products conference in California. Here's more.
Meta unveiled AI chatbots and Ray-Ban smart glasses among a host of new products Wednesday evening. Boss Mark Zuckerberg hosted the California launch event. He said new headsets they showcased marked a leap forward.
First, we are incredibly proud to introduce Quest 3, the first mainstream mixed reality headset. Quest 3 is the most powerful headset that we have ever shipped, and it allows you to blend the physical and digital worlds together.
Mixed reality means users can still see the world around them, but overlaid with computer graphics. Meta said games will make use of the tech, which can also be used for things like exercise and yoga instruction. Jeff Morin is chief executive of Lightsport, which has been developing such apps for the Quest 3.
I'm really excited for people just to be able to have like celebrity trainers and coaches and teachers in the room with them that they might not have access to.
Meta also unveiled more than 24 AI chatbots that will work within its social media applications. That includes a conversational assistant.
Meta AI is your basic assistant, right? That you can talk to like a person, right? You can message Meta AI and any of the messaging apps, WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram, Direct. Soon you're going to be able to message it in Quest 3, and it's going to help you, answer your basic questions or requests.
Other chatbots will have the personalities of celebrities like Bear Grylls and gold medalist snowboarder Chloe Kim, while another product will allow developers to create custom chatbots for use on Instagram and elsewhere. Rounding off a busy day of launches, Zuckerberg also revealed the new smart glasses made with Ray-Ban. They too will have AI built in and will allow users to live stream their view direct to social media. Meta's new chatbots launch this week in the US, with the headset and glasses to start shipping next month.
Generative artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT are spurring talks of unprecedented transformation in many fields. That's including education and academic research. Take a look at this report.
How will generative artificial intelligence like ChatGPT change education and academic research? Teachers all over the world are talking about the challenges and possible benefits of using AI in their work. Some see the benefits of the technology's ability to process information and data, which can provide a basis for deeper critical analysis by humans. Others are concerned that students might rely on AI to produce work and effectively cheat.
Do you think students should be allowed to use generative AI before a policy has been formulated?
Well, I would say directly no.
At leading Swedish university Lund, teachers decide which students can use AI to help them with assignments. Rachel Forsyth is the project manager in the Strategic Development Office there.
So we didn't want a ban. So instead we've got permissive approaches which you can use it as long as you're certain that the assessment is valid, which by that we mean it tests the outcomes that we meant it to test, and that it's secure, which means that we know that that student did the work that we're assessing. And that's not always easy. That will improve over time.
Similarly, the University of Hong Kong is allowing ChatGPT within strict limits. Launched by Microsoft-backed OpenAI in November 2022, ChatGPT has become the world's fastest-growing app to date. Generative AI tools like ChatGPT draw on patterns in language and data to generate anything from essays to videos to mathematical calculations that superficially resemble human work. The United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, recently launched what it says is the first global guidance on Gen AI in education. It outlines steps to take on areas such as data protection and revision of copyright laws. It also urges countries to make sure teachers get the AI skills they need. Professor Prosum Bhattacharya at Stockholm-based KTH Royal Institute of Technology says students should not be allowed to use the new technology before a policy has been formulated.
Because in my opinion, this will really impact the learning ability of the students, because right now knowledge which is gathered through reading books or reading different research articles or any other work, that cannot be supplemented by information which is generated artificially.
So could students rely on AI to produce work and effectively cheat? Worldwide, the software Turnitin has for decades been one of the main ways to check for plagiarism. In April, it launched a tool that uses AI to detect AI-generated content. It has provided that tool free to more than 10,000 education institutions globally, although it plans to charge a fee at the start of 2024. So far, the AI detection tool has found that only 3% of students used AI for more than 80% of their submissions. That's according to Turnitin data. Some students say there is still a long way to go before AI is properly useful. UNESCO's latest guidance also flags the risk generative AI will deepen societal divisions, as educational and economic success increasingly depend on access to electricity, computers, and internet that the poorest do not have. UNESCO's Assistant Director General for Education, Stefania Giannini.
Technology is a tool, it's a core. By itself is neutral. It's not for the bad or for the good. It's the way we use technology. And then we need an ecosystem which can be really rethought, which can be reshaped for the future of education.
And it seems like Chinese hackers were able to steal tens of thousands of emails from the State Department. This is what we know now about the Microsoft hacking incident from earlier this year. Here are the details.
State Department officials told lawmakers that Chinese hackers stole 60,000 emails from 10 State Department accounts during a security breach earlier this year. That's according to a staffer who attended a private briefing by State Department IT officials on Wednesday. The staffer works for Senator Eric Schmidt and declined to be named. According to the briefing details shared by the staffer, 9 victims were working on East Asia and the Pacific, and 1 worked on Europe. The Chinese hackers were able to steal sensitive information about their travel itineraries and diplomatic deliberations. The hackers also obtained a list containing all of the department's emails. U.S. officials and Microsoft said in July that Chinese state-linked hackers had accessed email accounts at around 25 organizations since May. These include the U.S. Commerce and State Departments. The extent of the breach remains unclear. The sweeping hack has refocused attention on Microsoft's outsized role in providing IT services to the federal government. Senator Schmidt said in a statement shared by the staffer, "We need to harden our defenses against these types of cyber attacks and intrusions. We need to take a hard look at the federal government's reliance on a single vendor as a potential weak point."
All the guardians and parents watching right now, just imagine this. You're taking your child or children to daycare next week, and all of a sudden, you find out the daycare you love and trust could be closing suddenly. Advocates say that's the reality that could unfold because federal funds for child care providers, billions of dollars in pandemic aid, expired this weekend. Here's what you need to know.
I worry what's going to happen to those moms now, specifically the single parents.
Delisa Ubreu, a single mother of 2, had to leave her job to take care of her kids during the pandemic. Now she worries she may have to do the same thing again because historic federal funding for childcare expires this weekend. meaning childcare costs could soar, and supporters of the funding say daycares could be forced to close.
I lose sleep over it. It's a constant worry.
This weekend, we'll see the expiration of a $24 billion federal COVID-19 pandemic support program, funding that helped childcare providers stay afloat and help to make daycare more affordable. Mom Alex McGann says even with the federal help, care for her daughter was still too expensive.
After running all the numbers and assessing all of our options, we realized that we would probably be losing money if we did send her to daycare.
According to the Century Foundation, a progressive think tank, when federal support expires, more than 70,000 childcare programs are projected to close nationwide, and more than 3 million children could be at risk of losing access to care.
If mamas and daddies can't get care for their babies, they can't go to work.
There is bipartisan support to extend childcare funding. The main issue, how to pay for it.
Do we raise taxes? Do we just borrow it? I mean, we are running big deficits, and deficits do matter.
And thank you so much for watching NTD Business. That's all for today, and have a great weekend.